Hey guys, Jexie here. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I get through bad days. Not every day in recovery is all like rainbows and sunshine, and I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talking about having a tough time, so I thought I'd share my experience and how I get through those difficult days. So, what do I mean by difficult days? Well, it really can be anything. I mean, some days I just wake up and I just don't quite feel myself. I'm a little bit more tired. I don't have the energy. I have a crazy to-do list and I don't want to do any of it. And then there's those days where we get really awful news about a family member passing away, or we forgot that we had some major project and now we're behind on. The levels of difficult days can range, and what's important to know is that it doesn't really matter what is causing your difficult day. It's just the matter of how it makes us feel. So a lot of times I know, especially as addicts, we tend to compare ourselves with others. Oh, well, how can I complain that I'm tired today when this person just worked an overnight shift? Or how can they be so complaining about, their kids? DIFUS took my kids and I don't even have them. Right? We tend to have those comparisons. And so I think what's important first off before we do anything else is recognizing that what makes you feel bad is important, right? It's not important to compare. So I always tell people when they talk to me about their problems, they may say, well, you may think it's silly. And I always respond the same way. If it matters to you, then it matters. That's it. It doesn't matter exactly what is causing the problem. If it's causing you to feel some sort of way, then we need to address it. Just because it may be something that I wouldn't be upset about doesn't mean that you're not upset. So I'm going to leave out any of the what is and how we need to manage, the problem, because the problems don't matter. This video is just going to focus on how to get through those feelings, which we all experience. So the first feeling that I think can happen sometimes on difficult days is just being tired. Being tired can be draining, and I know for myself, if I'm a little bit more tired than I was on a productive day, I have a really hard time for the entire day. I feel less motivated to get stuff done. My to-do list piles up. I feel bad about myself because I don't want to get going. Maybe I stay in bed a little bit longer so I have less time to get things done. So even being just a little bit tired can throw me off. And I don't know about you, but there are days where I get like a full night's sleep and everything's great and I still wake up tired. So obviously the best way to prevent being a little bit tired is to get a good night's sleep, eat healthy, all those things, right? But we're talking about when you wake up and you're tired, right? We can't rewind the clock and say, let me go back and go have more sleep, right? So you wake up and you're a little bit more tired. Well, what are some ways that we can handle those feelings? My first suggestion is get out of bed and make your bed. Even if you end up sitting back on your bed after you're done, there's something about getting up and making your bed that can kind of give you that little bit of boost to go through with your day. Another thing that I've heard suggested to me is when you get out of bed to have more energy for the day is to do a little bit of exercise. Look, I am not a morning person and I am not a huge fan of exercise. So I'm not getting up and going out in the cold and running miles. It's not happening. But sometimes I get up and I'll just do some sit-ups and maybe stretching. There's something about getting a little bit of those endorphins going that can help prep me for the rest of the day. And the third thing that I would say is, get up and eat breakfast. Even if you don't feel hungry, there's something about a cup of coffee, tea, juice, and some breakfast that can get your body moving. It helps give you the energy for the day. So those are just some small things, but it's amazing how these little bitty things can make our entire day go a little bit better. So another problem that a lot of people say in regards to having a difficult day is maybe they're sad about something. Now look, depending on what it is you're sad about, I'm a big believer that sometimes we have to sit in those feelings. There's a time to sit in those feelings, and then there's a time to process them and move past it. So, for example, you lose a loved one. You're not going to wake up the next day and be like, all right, moving past it, everything's great. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? But like, maybe you got like a bad grade on something and it's wearing you down. You can process those feelings, but then it's time to move forward. How can we make ourselves feel better? So if you're sad because you've had some sort of tragedy and you need to sit in those feelings for a little bit, don't feel guilty about it. Sit in those feelings. Play some sad music. Call a friend to cry. Let yourself feel that. Don't feel guilty about it. But if you're at a point where it's time to, like, the sadness is no longer helpful, the sitting in those feelings is no longer having a therapeutic value, then we need to move past it. Well, what can we do? So the one thing I like to do if I'm trying to change my mood is listen to certain music. So I create all my playlists not based on type of music, but based on way music makes me feel. So I have playlists that generally make me feel more upbeat and happy. I have playlists for when I want to sit and cry. I have playlists for when I want to feel a little sexy. So I always put on my happy music playlist, and starting off the day before I even think about anything else, I get up, make my bed, sit on my bed, and then listen to some music that makes me feel a little bit happy, a little bit more energy. Again, it's about state of mind. If I put on music that generally triggers me to be a little bit more upbeat, just putting that music on is generally going to trigger me to be a little bit more upbeat. It's about new habits, new patterns. So when you start doing these things, when your brain starts associating certain things with certain feelings, it's a little bit easier to get yourself going for the day. Look, a lot of times there are things that go on throughout your day that is going to make it hard. And it doesn't mean that your entire day has to be off. So one thing I heard early on in recovery that has been really helpful for me during difficult days is that I have the ability to start my day over at any point. So what does that mean? Well, let's say I wake up and everything's off, right? Just everything's off. I overslept, my clothes aren't clean, my kid's sick, whatever, and it throws me off. That doesn't necessarily mean that I have to look at the whole day as being a disaster, right? Maybe my morning was a disaster. That happens sometimes, right? Not every day is great. So once I get through that tough part in the morning, sometimes it's a good idea to sit down, take a couple minutes, center yourself, meditate, pray, I don't know, whatever you're into, listen to a song, and just restart your day. Say, you know what? I'm going to put that morning that was crazy behind me. It happened, and now I'm going to move forward with a different attitude. I'm going to have feelings that the rest of this day is going to be great for me. Doesn't mean it will, but it gives us an opportunity to restart the day, to give ourselves a new start. In recovery, it's about restarting days sometimes all of the time. And especially in early recovery, when they tell us staying clean is minute at a time, hour at a time, forget day at a time. Day at a time comes later. Sometimes at the beginning, it's literally about minutes at a time, hours at a time. So our days can start off like that too. We don't have to have a difficult day. Maybe we're just having a difficult hour. When we can break up feelings into times too, it gives us the opportunity to get out of that funk that we're feeling. And then, finally, some days are just going to be rough. Some days are just going to be hard. Some days you're going to want to use. Some days we're going to, just feel more down on ourselves. There's just some days that we're not going to be able to snap ourselves out of it. So what do we do then? Well, that's when, for me, a recovery program kicks in. I call people, either people in my network, I talk to family, my sponsor, whoever it is that's my support system, and I let them know how I'm feeling. Maybe I go to a meeting. If you're in a 12-step program, then, meetings are a great place to go to share how you're feeling. Maybe you want to write it down. Write down how you're feeling, why you're feeling that way, and get out of that funk that you're in. We don't have to use because we're having a difficult day. And I'm going to end the video with this. And I thought it was really great. A friend of mine in recovery told me, he said, a good day is when I get through the day and everything goes right. A great day is when everything in my day goes wrong and I still don't use. For me, I think that's the best perspective to have. That is a great day. If you can get through all these negative feelings and not pick up, that's a great day. Because if you can get through the hard feelings, you can get through the regular days too. So I hope this video was helpful. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and letting me know how you feel. Be sure to subscribe. It really helps. I want to make sure that I'm reaching as many people as possible. You know, together, we can share the hope that recovery is possible. Have a great day, everyone.